Hi guys, I'm Alyssa. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be giving a spoiler-free review of the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. So this entire series is a spin-off of the Caravel Trilogy, and because of that it will give away spoilers from that series. So if you had ever thought about reading Caravel but hadn't gotten around to it yet, read that trilogy first before you dive into Once Upon a Broken Heart. So the first book, Once Upon a Broken Heart, opens with our protagonist Evangeline Fox as she is desperately trying to stop a wedding. In her desperation to stop this wedding, she strikes a deal with the Prince of Hearts and is led into many dangerous situations as she tries to fulfill her end of the bargain. So this book was very fast-paced and fun and magical and was almost like a fairy tale. However, the main issue in this book that I had with it is that Evangeline isn't the most likable protagonist. She doesn't really seem to have a sense of self-preservation, and because of that, she makes a lot of choices that don't make sense to the reader. I don't know why the author wrote her like this. I don't know if Stephanie Garber just needed to push her plot along, regardless of how it made her main character act. Other than that, this is probably a 3.5-star book. It's pretty average for a fantasy book, but I'd say it's still worth reading. So the second book in the series is The Ballad of Never After, and it was my favorite book of the series. You follow Evangeline and she's trying to break a curse, and as she's on this mission to break a curse, she's led on to so many mini adventures that I loved reading about. My only main issue with this book in particular is that the ending is very similar to the ending of the second Caravel novel. But other than that, it's a 4-star read. So the third book in the series is A Curse for True Love, and it follows Evangeline as she pursues her happy ever after. It was my least favorite book of the series. Nothing really happens in the first 100 pages. It's quite pointless. And even when events do start happening, the pace is never consistent. It either goes way too slow and just drags, or it speeds up too quickly and you're not quite sure what's happening. The character behaviors are also not consistent in this book, and I'm not sure why. It wasn't character growth. Evangeline never really changes as a person. And as for the Prince of Hearts, yeah, he has some change, but it happens so fast in this book that it's just not believable. The villain in this book is also very forgettable. You also accumulate a lot of questions throughout the books, and I was under the impression that they would be answered by the final novel. They're not. They're either brushed off or the author seems to forget about them. That's something that really bothered me. There are also a lot of side characters in this book where I really wanted to know how their stories ended, and the author just doesn't tell you. She either seems to forget about some, or others she just leaves it very open-ended. Maybe it's to write another spin-off series, I don't know, but I personally like to know the fate of each character in a book, like in Charles Dickens novels. So as a whole, A Curse for True Love was a 2-star read. I have no want to ever revisit this book. So for the series as a whole, I'd say it's about 3 stars. It's pretty average. As I've mentioned, it has a lot of issues. One that carries throughout the series is that the author will have her main character constantly repeating major details, and it seems like the author doesn't have faith in her readers to remember these things. I think the series would have been better had the author created one main strong villain that carried out throughout the series. It would have gone much better with the fairy tale like aspect of it. So I picked this book series up because, yes, I had enjoyed the Caravel series, but I had also come out of reading a lot of heavy World War II novels, and I just needed something that was light and easy to read. And I did find what I was looking for in this. If you are also looking for an easy YA fantasy novel, you should read this book. You'll enjoy the first two in the series. But if you're looking for a deep fantasy novel that has rich themes and morals and world building, then it would be best just to keep looking. You'll be disappointed in this series. So I have reached the end of my review. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next Friday. Bye.